What's going on, guys? I just wanted to talk about a few topics, some concerns, some praises, just a few things that I'm going to keep a hawkeye out for whenever I play the Avengers beta and what's leading up to the full game. Maybe a little few perspectives and different viewpoints about things, or just something to keep in mind for when playing the beta. Anyways, I hope you're as excited as I am to play, but we also must remember that this is a beta, and betas are mostly for developers to gather information and to get fan feedback. So it's not really for you, for the fans, it's mostly for the developers. But yes, in another sense, it is for the fans. And with that in mind, some of these topics could be mixed depending on your interests, lifestyle, and how you like to play video games. Okay, so let's get right into it, jumping around some topics here. Okay, so a lot of people were saying that the combat and the controls feels too samey. The same fundamental moves with the characters. You got to block, you got to dodge, you got a light attack, you got a heavy attack. Easy Allied Gaming says that when they started playing as Black Widow, it introduced a perfect dodge or a dodge slow-mo into the character, and they thought that it was only going to be custom to Black Widow. Ended up finding out that it is not, that every character has this type of perfect dodge moment. So the characters will feel fundamentally the same. You're probably going to have an L1 for a block, a circle for a dodge, and every single person is going to be able to do that. That's not necessarily a good thing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Will their dodges be different comparatively? Will the combat advance anymore? In the beta, you have one page of upgrades for your movesets, and apparently in the full game, you have 3 pages of movesets for each character. They specifically, I recall at one war table, they specifically says that my Thor will play different than your Thor. So, but does that really mean my second square combo is going to be a different type of swing than another gentleman's or lady's second square combo with Thor? Is it going to be that much in depth of different movesets and a variety of movesets? Or will it be akin to something like your first 3 square light attacks, your square moves, are going to be the same 3 swings, but then whenever you input your heavy attacks, that's where these different movesets, because you've upgraded your character to all 3 pages or what have you, and that's where the combination mix-up changes? Or are these just adding to your combo, adding a grab move and a finisher type at the end of your square, square, triangle, triangle combo, or a square, triangle, triangle combo? It does sound simple. It does sound where it could be unfun. It does sound to where it could get repetitive fairly quickly. That's a small concern of mine. I see it. You can tell in the gameplay, I believe, that it's very easy to tell that that's kind of how the combat will be. But at the same extent, understand that the whole game is populated with multiple superheroes, multiple characters, and I do believe that that is how they want you to play the game. They want you to experiment with other characters. They want you to probably main about 3 different characters, which I believe is a good idea anyways, especially if you're playing co-op. Within the team, they do not allow the same characters to be on the same team. So, pretty cool. Makes you a little bit more relative to the character. Makes you feel more for the character, like you are that character on more of a sense. My Iron Man, my Thor, my Black Widow. Let's move on to gear and augmentations. Okay, so like I said before, gear doesn't necessarily change your moveset or change anything about your character, really. It just changes the look and changes the passive abilities that you have, like damage and resilience or durability or what have you. And at the same time, you obtain materials to level up each specific gear piece, which in turn could make the grind a little addictive, a little engaging. It might be very satisfying. I want to refer to Ultimate Alliance 3 recently. I've been playing that. That game does have a satisfying grind to it. And that game, it very much surprised me because that game, each character only has 4 attacks. Well, technically 6. You have a light and a heavy attack, and then you have your 4 special attacks. But you get 20-something characters with that game. So I continuously find myself changing characters, changing my team up, wanting to level up certain characters and grind out some abilities to make that one special attack more powerful than what it was before, opening up for higher damage and higher difficulties, and there's that replayability in there. So anyways, let's go back to the gear real quick and the loot. If it feels similar to Ultimate Alliance 3. I will be personally down about that, as in the complexity of the upgrades and the complexity of the loot, inching my character upwards towards the ultimate character that it can be. Now, with that being said, if the combat does seem simplistic, but gives me enough wiggle room, and the gear loot grind is good, I can overlook the simplicity of the combat. Like I said, superhero bias that is heavily leaning me towards liking this game a lot and overlooking these simplistic type of mechanics such as combat or the grind, because I do not like Destiny's grind per se. At the same time, this game is very heavily being compared to Destiny. It's a Destiny melee team co-op game, which I'm down for that. I like those kinds of games, but I've seen it before and I've seen it fail. Let's just mention Anthem real quick. A game that I heavily loved, I wanted to love, and I did. What I played with it was great, but they fell short on the grind, on the loot. Avengers seems like it's going to have a mission variety based not only on what types of missions with war zones and heroic tales and all these other kinds of things, but if they are more so underlying the fact that, hey, these missions are about 20 minutes, these missions are about 45 minutes, and these missions are about 15 minutes, just depending on what you got going on during the day. I think that would be cool. That's very player friendly in a sense. They want to keep you playing. And in that regard, I could see how it could go either way depending on the player. Also think, this is a Marvel title. A lot of young people like Marvel. I myself, I'm 30 years old. I got a few friends who dig it, but they don't dig it as much as I do. But will this grind, will this combat loop, the simplicity / complexity of the combat, is that going to keep a non-Marvel fan engaged in this game long enough? Who knows? I'm interested to know. And speaking of keeping the player playing, they're going to have these things called challenge cards, which in any other words, it's just a battle pass. Personally, I like battle passes. I like challenge cards, what have you. I think it would be cool if they called it like challenge card alpha, challenge card beta for the seasons or whatnot. That goes along a little bit with the Marvel theme. But anyways, yes, I do like battle passes due to the fact it does make you feel special in a sense like, hey, I've been playing this game since season 2. That's why I have this skin. I'm different than you. It gives a little bit more player individuality, and it does keep you playing because battle passes, once they give you the sense of leveling up no matter what, even if you have everything else in the game done, it gives you a sense of seasonal leveling system, which I liked. Ghost Recon Breakpoint did it, but you know how that game went. But anyways, I was just really intrigued that it had it, so it wanted me to keep playing multiplayer and get these extra gear items and stuff like that. So yes, challenge cards will be in the game, and I think that's a great idea. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what they got in store. Let's quickly touch on individual character movement. I've seen a lot of people complain about Hulk. Hulk is slow, and Hulk, he isn't dialed in. He can't jump. His animations take too long. Been seeing a lot of that stuff. And you know what? I totally agree with that. I can't specifically see it in the gameplay, but I guarantee what these guys are saying are true to the fact. I bet once you get hands-on and the controller in hand, Hulk will feel too weighty, actually. It's good to feel weighty sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I like weighty. But slow, just because he's big doesn't necessarily mean he has to be slow. If this dude's all powerful, this dude is going to be moving around like an athlete, like a linebacker, like a wrecking ball here. Okay, so I do believe that these critiques are sound. I probably agree with them. I guarantee I will agree with them. And I hope this is something that developers take into hand. They were saying also Black Widow. She was quick and somewhat responsive, but not all the way responsive on some terms that they would like it to be. So not exactly precision scope as what they probably expected from Black Widow, which is probably understandable. You can tell by all these characters, there's a little bit of that. Even watching the gameplay, it's hard to tell exactly the timing or animations and stuff like that. But you can tell in the gameplay that it's a little janky. It's a little maybe unresponsive. There's no in between the bread, if you know what I'm saying, if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. So anyways, slight concern of mine. I'm definitely going to be spitting my critiques as I be playing the game here in the next 24 hours. Okay, and just moving on here, we have mission types. We got story missions, warzone missions, all this hoopla that they're stating. On paper, it sounds good. It sounds like a lot. It sounds like 30 gigabytes worth of content, which it is. But honestly, I feel like once I get hands-on, you can only do the story missions once. That's going to downfall. Maybe they're doing the technique where they want to give you just a taste and not the whole thing, where you can run over story missions over and over again, having players wanting more, which is completely understandable. So in this beta, we're going to do the grind. We're going to do war zones. We're going to do small, tight little missions probably, but just multiple of them. Like I said, it sounds like a lot, but I guarantee once you get playing, that 3 hours will go by quick, and you might not want to pick it up again until the next weekend. So regarding to a beta, there is going to be a disconnect there. You're not going to be really feeling like you're achieving a goal. You're just going to feel like you're trying something out. Might be something to consider when playing the beta. Okay, and for the last topic in mind, we'll just finish off with the story. So far, from an outside perspective, not playing any of the story missions or anything like that, the story seems ace. It seems Marvel. It seems comic book-like. It's really congruent with other things that I've seen out in the media, even the MCU. On Disney Plus, there's a future Avengers TV show where some kids get caught up in what I think to be AIM or Hydra. They get superpowers, and they kind of link up with the Avengers to kind of learn their powers and whatnot. It kind of seems like that's the route Kamala Khan is going. She kind of gets wrapped up with MODOK, which is cool, and she's trying to find the Avengers to get the boys back together, which is a great thing. Regarding the characters in the story, though, I do believe they are inserting little seeds to this video game to prepare outside viewers or not so hardcore Marvel fans into these newer characters such as MODOK and AIM and the other side of Marvel that's not so much the Infinity Stones and Thanos. So I think that's really cool that they're introducing these new characters just to get somewhat of a head start. So whenever they start popping out these Phase 4, Phase 5 MCU movies, people aren't like, oh, who the heck is this big robot head? So which in turn, playing the game, you can simply say like, oh, that's that one dude from the game. I know this. I'm in it. I want to go see the movie now. So I feel like they're good. This is Marvel, guys. Like, they're not fools. They're very methodical in what they're doing. Okay, just moving on to Spider-Man real quick. Spider-Man's exclusive for PlayStation. I mean, if I was an Xbox player only, I'd be upset. Luckily, I'm not, though, so I get Spider-Man as well. I mean, it is what it is, guys. Sony owns certain rights to Spider-Man, and Marvel owns the other side. So that's all I got to say about that. Okay, so closing thoughts real quick. My two main concerns, or my two main topics that will make or break this game for me. The combat, the complexity/simplicity of it, and the loot system. I can get down behind the theme. I can get down behind the characters. I love it all. But mechanically, will this game keep me engaged? Will it keep my hands on the controller? Will it keep the feeling in my body when I'm not playing it, saying to myself, I want to play this the next time I play video games? Overall, beta, full game, either way. I do see a lot of 60-40, a lot of 60% people saying, it might, it's iffy. That's not good. I don't like hearing that, to be quite honest. And there's 40 that are saying, yo, I love this game. I'm down with this game, and I'm like right in between. I mean, I'm comic book hero biased. I love it. I believe that comic book heroes or superheroes in general have a big space in the video game realm. I really do. It used to be common practice back in the day, back in the Super Nintendo days and stuff. Superheroes and comics are such a big IP nowadays that when they do make a game, they just can't throw together shambles of a game, basic mechanics, and lackluster gameplay. Take Batman, for instance. Batman Arkham Knight, one of my favorite games of this generation. They did it right. People didn't like the Batmobile. I love the Batmobile. That's part of Batman. But anyways, they did it right. They did it big. And these studios and these companies have to worry about who's making these games and what type of quality they're going to make their superheroes shine out to the public and out to the gaming world. Because the gaming industry is one of the most financially successful industries in the world. So whenever you're inserting your comic book heroes into this, you got to do it right. All right, guys, with that being said, I know I was a little bit winded and a little long ranted, but I just feel like I had to get some of this out before the beta comes. This is a game that I'll be probably playing quite a bit personally, but I do also see on the opposite end here, on the other side of the coin, where it could be a downfall for some players and why they see it might not work. So anyways, guys, hope you like this one. Leave a like if you can. If not, no big deal. Y'all have a good day. Peace.